We're 3 days away from the kickoff of the first game of the season. Michigan, Colorado State, noon Eastern at the Big House on Saturday. Go down in the comments. Give me your score prediction. Got a lot of these last few videos. We've asked for it quite a few times. But that's what happens when you have this much anticipation leading up to a season opener for the defending Big Ten champ. So go down in the comments. Let me know your score prediction and give me a, who's going to win. Of course, it's probably Michigan. I'm going to give you my score prediction right now just to make it more fun. I'm going to go Michigan 63-3 is what they're going to beat Colorado State by. 63-3 is my score prediction, so put yours down in the comments. We have your Michigan football offensive depth chart heading into the season opener coming up right now. I am your host, James Yoder. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, construction is underway at the studio. This is the same wall as yesterday, if you guys recall. It was blue yesterday. Now it's got some grayish-white primer on it. It's going to turn another color tomorrow to be ready for this 2022 NFL season. So a little bit different look than we normally have, but you guys will get over it. We'll be back in the saddle with the full Michigan Football Report array of colors and logos coming up here on our post-game show on Saturday. All right, folks, let's get into our offensive depth chart, Michigan, Colorado State. And outside of the quarterback, I kind of think this is how it's going to play out the entire season outside of any injuries. Start off with the quarterbacks, folks. This should be obvious to everybody. This is really the one that probably we might be thinking something differently or something might change just in 2 or so weeks from now. And hell, maybe even just after 1 week, you guys might be saying, Cade's the best. Don't start JJ versus Hawaii. Or, gosh, Cade was terrible. JJ the rest of the season. I'm sure there are going to be some massive hot takes, which is why I can't wait for Sunday's video, our Overreaction Sunday, to every pass these guys make. So, Cade McNamara, defending Big Ten championship quarterback, wasn't a superstar. Wasn't a guy you would expect to go in the top 5 rounds of the NFL draft or anything like that last year, but was the unquestioned leader of this team and made some plays when Michigan absolutely needed it. Quite a few against Ohio State, a couple passes, that one to A.J. Henning in particular, and led Michigan comeback victory on the road against Penn State, comeback victory on the road against Nebraska. Some people say, that was a defensive victory. Nevertheless, he is your starter against Colorado State. J.J. McCarthy will get the nod against Hawaii in the second game of the year. One little note. I think this is very interesting. I looked back yesterday because I was thinking to myself, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Think about the 8 years of the college football playoff. You have as many teams who won a national championship with a different quarterback than started the opener as you do that had a quarterback that started the opener. Think back, Ohio State, right? Started with J.T. Barrett, Cardale Jones. Then you had Alabama. Tua won it for him. Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback all year. Tua won the national championship game. Trevor Lawrence, right? Didn't take over until I think the 5th game of the year in 2018. They won the national championship last year. Georgia. They started off with J.T. Daniels, was it? Ended up with whoever the hell that guy's name was that won the national title. What? Stenson Bennett, that's right, from the production staff, the best in the business. So 4 out of the last 8 national champions have switched quarterbacks mid-season or hell, even halftime of the national championship game. So I want to know from you guys, go ahead and answer this question for me down in the comments. I'll pin this comment to below the video, so go down and just reply. Who will have more passing yards through those first 2 games, each man getting a start? Type CM if it's Cade McNamara. If you think it'll be J.J. McCarthy with more passing yards, type JJ. You might get it with a YouTube ad break, folks. So scroll down, give me a CM or JJ, scroll right back up, and the video will roll on. All right, my take here is that you might, for the first time in Jim Harbaugh's entire coaching tenure at Michigan, you might actually see a pass-first, potentially even a pass-happy offense at times against Colorado State. I'm guessing once you get late in the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, they'll be running the ball with their 4th, 5th-string running back. But I do really believe, based on just common sense and inside information from parents of former Michigan players I've talked to about the situation, is that Jim Harbaugh wants to give both guys the opportunity to win that starting job, right? If you're going to bench Cade McNamara coming off a Big Ten championship season, you better know that the guy that you're benching for is the right guy. That guy better come in and take the job away from him. And same with J.J. McCarthy. If you're going to keep a 5-star quarterback on the bench as a sophomore, you better make sure and say, look, it's not because I'm favoring any other guy or favoring the older guy. Look at the stats here. Both guys, I expect to at least get 15 plus passes on Saturday. I expect unless something changes drastically, that will happen again against Hawaii in the second week of the year. And even if one guy seizes the job and it's still close, I expect both players to get snaps throughout the entire month of September. Let's go over to the running back depth chart. Another position. The offense is a little bit, for Michigan, not as exciting because they've got so much coming back. But this is the offensive depth chart. I think the only real surprise here, Blake Corum is your starter, Donovan Edwards your number 2. They'll be just like last year. Both guys on any given game can get 15, 16, 20 carries, and some games they'll both get 15, 16 carries. CJ Stokes, the true freshman out of the state of South Carolina, being your running back 3 over your Tavierre Dunlap, is a surprise, the biggest surprise for me in a lot of ways on this offensive depth chart altogether. So, what they'll really do in these first 3-4 games of the year is I actually think Stokes and Dunlap might end up with double-digit carries themselves in a game or two because you'll have Blake Corum take a bunch of snaps in the first quarter, second quarter. Donovan Edwards will get mixed in both from the passing game and running the ball. And by the time Michigan builds up a 3-touchdown lead, you're going to want to empty the bench from the running back position, where Michigan certainly does not want to get a guy injured in a game where you're up by 4 touchdowns. So expect quite a few of those guys to get snaps throughout the year, deep into that, not even past the second, third, fourth. You might even get into the 5th, 6th running back, guys you've never even heard of or forgot were even on this team. If you're looking for new videos every single day this season, the inside scoop on the latest news and rumors on Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines with no spin, no BS. I don't do what the athletic department tells me to do. I don't toe the company line. I give it to you straight. We've got the fastest post-game show in all of the YouTube college football game, and it's free, which maybe is the best part. You get to see my mug every single day from now through the end of the season. It's free. Subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. If you've already subscribed and you like it, quit complaining in the comments. Yoder, quit asking for subscribers. That's how the business works. If you want to pay for something, I'm sure there's other options out there. But if you want me to stop asking for subscribers and you have subscribed, send it to a friend. Let's get to 21,000. I'll do a couple episodes without a subscription read for you guys. Let's go over to our wide receivers. Roman Wilson. I actually was starting to think, even though he had a couple nice plays against Ohio State, certainly against Iowa, and made a player here against Georgia, I was starting to think that maybe with the emergence of Andrel Anthony and the buzz around some freshmen, that maybe Roman Wilson would be the forgotten man out, his final 2 years in Ann Arbor. But the way things are shaking out, the way how Jim Harbaugh talked about him last weekend, is it might seem like he could emerge as your running back or your wide receiver 1 or the primary deep threat that Cornelius Johnson has really been the last couple years. So our starters right now, Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson, Ronnie Bell, although these top 5 guys are very interchangeable right now for this team. All 5 of them, I think, are similarly talented and will have the opportunity to be on the field a ton early on. And even if 2 or 3 guys emerge, I don't think that means Michigan's going to stop playing wide receiver, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers in any given game. We saw it last year. Andrel Anthony came out of nowhere against Michigan State, took a pass 90-plus yards for a touchdown. I had even forgot he was even on the team. He was a middling 3-star recruit at that point, had yet to make an impact halfway through the season. So Michigan, according to Jim Harbaugh, has 10 wide receivers that he thinks could be impactful players for this team, including one I'll talk about here in a second that Harbaugh really was gushing about over the weekend. But before I talk about the receivers a little more, I want to give you guys the opportunity to get followed by me on Twitter, potentially one of the biggest honors that you could ever have in your entire life on Twitter. It's a cesspool of idiots, except for the folks who follow me. So be one of those folks, at James Yoder. Follow me, and the next 10 people following this video who give me a follow, I will follow back, and I'll be following your tweets. Maybe I'll give you a couple of retweets as you have some awesome takes on this Michigan football team throughout the season. So Jim Harbaugh is often known to throw praise at people that I think are just Harbaugh kind of guys, right? And here's this year's ones. Payton O'Leary, a wide receiver that I, to be honest, didn't really even know who he was up until 4 days ago. He says he's backing up. He's the backup wide receiver to Cornelius Johnson at the X wide receiver position. He's had a Cooper Kupp-like training camp, really surged this offseason. Look, I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to go there. Cooper Kupp, why didn't he compare him to, Devontae Adams or something like that? I think Jim Harbaugh, you better watch yourself and who you're comparing to people in this sensitive culture that we're in. But that's the player. Peyton O'Leary, Jim Harbaugh, a few praise him. Cooper Kupp, the best wide receiver in the NFL. That's who this player is reminding him, really surged. My take on this, folks, is that this player, Payton OLeary, is second year in the program, is probably a really hard worker. He probably shows up first to practice, the weight room. He's probably the last guy to be there. He's probably going to Jim Harbaugh's office asking him what he can do to maybe see the field one day, and Jim Harbaugh wants to reward him to get guys like me or just the local newspaper to talk about him, do a feature story on him. But Jim Harbaugh has done this plenty of times in the past at the wide receiver position, most notably Nate Schoenle or Schoenle, whatever his name was, back in the 2019-2020 season. He was the next Cooper Kupp, and I don't think he had more than 2-3 catches in his entire Michigan football career. So that's the take on that one, folks. But if he gets a couple snaps, it'll likely be early on in the season in these games, Colorado State, Hawaii, and others. But against Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, don't expect to see Peyton O'Leary in the lineup. But the lineup for you could get a little bit better this season if you take advantage of these deals. First up, from today's partner, the Michigan Football Jordan Brand t-shirt. This is the official Jordan Brand of the season. They went out of stock a little bit. Now they are back in stock, so apparently they restocked, and I don't think you're going to get them for this Saturday's game, but like me, I'm waiting for mine to be shipped. I will have it. I'll be wearing this one in the Big House as long as it arrives on time, which is stated to. I'll be wearing this in the Big House on September 10th against Hawaii. So go to that link. It'll be down in the comments in the description, chatsports.com/MichiganTT. It'll redirect you right to the page to buy this shirt. And I very often complain here from people when Michigan has maize outs late in the season against Ohio State or in October against Michigan State. I don't have any long sleeve things that are maize. Here's your opportunity. This bad boy we talked about last week it's $50. They did a day sale, 40% off, and that expired. Now it's back a week later. It's, again, 40% off. They may continue it. You might see it there on Thursday or Friday, but as of right now, it's a one-day-only sale. Chatsports.com/Maze hoodie. Link down in the comments and description. Use those links, buy those products, support the show, and get yourself an awesome Michigan football hoodie or the Jordan Brand t-shirt. Offensive line depth chart. I've never seen anything like this in my life, where one guy is the backup at 4 out of 5 positions across an offensive line. So Jim Harbaugh says Ryan Hayes, Trevor Keegan, Victor O, that's our guy's name at the center. That's his nickname he had at Virginia, Victor O, Zach Zitner, and Trente Jones. Jones being really the first-year starter here, the only first-year starter here on the offensive line in general. Obviously, Victor O at center is a first-year starter for Michigan, but he was a starter at Virginia last year, was a finalist for the Remington Award trophy as the best center in college football. But Trevor Keegan is your backup at both tackle positions, both guard positions. Harbaugh says Michigan has 6 starters. I expect him to rotate in even when it's not backup time. Give guys a breather or something like that. And then you've got Greg Crippen as your backup at center. So if you see anybody come out or anybody gets injured or nicked up on the offensive line other than center, you know that Trevor Keegan is coming in to take his position. Finally, folks, we have tight ends. And even though Jim Harbaugh said Eric All and Luke Schoonmaker are co-starters at tight ends, I do not believe him. And my job sometimes is to be the broker of believability for this football program. Eric All is your starter. Schoonmaker will get plenty of snaps. He scored a touchdown in the Big Ten championship game. He came on late in the year. And then Joel Hongerford, who I feel like is in his 7th year at Michigan, and that actually might be at this point with a COVID year and an injury year and all this stuff. And then Colston Loveland, the player of the year out of the state of Idaho. Those are maybe your top 4 the way things are shaking out. I think at least those are the guys I think will get the most snaps, certainly Schoonmaker and Eric All. But Jim Harbaugh said, and I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I think he said they had 8 or 9 tight ends that he thinks is going to get playing time this year. Kind of preposterous to say, but nevertheless, that is your offensive depth chart. Heading into Colorado State, if anything drastically changes, maybe we can do another offensive depth chart later on in the year, but this is what you should expect when Michigan rolls out the starters basically every game from here on out. One more reminder, folks, follow me on Twitter. It's at James Yoder, just my first and last name. The first 10 people, I'm going to give you guys a follow back. Let's get in the Twitter game. You've got me here on YouTube. Take it over to Twitter. You'll get more of James Yoder, which, of course, I think is what you're looking for. So go ahead and give me a follow there on Twitter. We'll be back. We've got 2 more shows this week. One of those is the defensive depth chart. So I see you next time, folks. Go Blue.